Hey yo, this is Dash, and take these off so you can probably see me a little better. Here we go with another Don't You Hate It When moment. This one's not going to be quick because, yeah. So, don't you hate it when you find out that your license is suspended? Full disclosure, I actually knew my license was suspended. Well, I thought my license might be suspended. I wasn't sure that it actually was suspended. So, I am bringing my son back home from a kid's birthday party. I went to Chuck E. Cheese's. Any of you parents out there know how awesome Chuck E. Cheese's is, right? So I went to Chuck E. Cheese's, and this was on a Sunday. So here we go. I'm driving home with my son in the car, and it was just the two of us. So we have the windows down, and we're cruising along. We're come over, and I've told you before, and if you don't know by now, I live in Baltimore. I happen to be coming over what's called the Key Bridge. It's a toll bridge around the Baltimore Beltway. So I'm coming over the Key Bridge, and at the bottom of the Key Bridge, cops like to sit there and, you know, do the radar at you because of the fact that typically when you're coming down the bridge, you're speeding. So today, or yesterday, when this was, I was not speeding, thank goodness. But for 6 months, I've been riding around with my license plate inside my car. And I'll show a picture of where the license plate was. So here's a picture where the license plate was. When I took the picture, I've obviously moved it. But my license plate was in the car, and nobody bothered me for 6 months. Actually, it's been longer than 6 months because it's been since September. So if you saw... Hello? No, I'm actually trying to film a video. What's up? Alright, but I'm in the middle of filming a video. Sure. Bye. Sorry, I was rudely interrupted. Yes, rudely. Okay, so where was I? I was driving across the Key Bridge, and I didn't speed on purpose because I know that a lot of times the cops sit down at the bottom of the bridge. So I'm driving across the bridge, and I see this Maryland state trooper. Okay, I mean, it wasn't even a state trooper, it was a transit police cop. Or transportation police cops. They're like a joke, seriously. Alright, so I see the cop, and as soon as I drive past him, I'm like, here we go. I'm like, okay, let me do the check. My seatbelt's on, I wasn't speeding, okay, I should be good, right? As soon as I drive past him, I see this dude put his brake lights on. And as soon as I saw his brake lights, I said, I know he's coming for me. I know he's coming for me. So what do? I'm not guilty or anything. I get off on the first exit. The next exit coming up. Now, good thing is I knew where I was, so I got off on the first exit, and the cop, you know, I'll just call him a cop. So the transportation police dude is coming after me, right? So I'm like, well, what the hell did I do? Why is he? I said, I know I wasn't speeding, or at least I thought I wasn't speeding. So I proceed to get off the highway, and I get off the highway, and I still see him coming, and I see him coming after me. So I'm like, oh, this is just great. So I get off the highway, and then I get off on like one of the next exits that comes up. And I'm not really trying to run from the dude. I just really didn't want to be pulled over, right? We've all been there before. So after it probably was like 3 or 4 miles, dude was still following me. I said, okay, you know what? I'm just gonna turn into this little shopping area. I turned into the shopping area, and as soon as I got past the first stop sign in the shopping area, dude let me up. I see the lights. And then if you're following me on Twitter, you see my Twitter name down there. If you're following me on Twitter, you probably saw this image. So yeah, after 6 months of me riding with my license plate in the front of my windshield, I had gotten pulled over twice in the span of a little over 2 weeks, okay? And so here's the first violation, and then here's the second violation. So my whole thing was, my story was that I was told by a police officer in Maryland that it was okay for me to put my license plate where I had it, up in the windshield of my car, because it was visible, and the law says something about it has to be visible from 20 feet outside of the vehicle. The only stipulation is the state of Maryland would like for you to keep the license plate outside of the vehicle, and it has to be affixed to the bumper. That leaves a lot for interpretation. So because I got into that accident, remember the accident video? Yeah, when I had that pity party. So when I got into the accident, the front end of my car, which had the old front end, had the license plate holder. The new front end I have on my car doesn't. And because it doesn't, I didn't want to put holes in my bumper or anything like that, because it's hard plastic, and I mean, come on, it looks horrible. Because of those things, I kind of came up with the story of I was told I could put it there, blah, blah, blah. So the first time, it worked. The second time, it worked too. I got another warning, traffic violation warning. I received a warning because of failure to attach the vehicle registration plates at the front and rear. So basically, you know, again, it was just because I didn't have my license plate affixed in the proper position as told by the Maryland State Trooper. I mean, the whatever. So dude tells me he's writing me a warning. I'm like, okay, fine, you know, he's gonna write me a warning. I'm gonna get off, I'm gonna leave the plate where it is, and if I get stopped again, I'll probably move it. Third time, you know, whatever. Well, this guy comes back to my car and he says, Mr. Dash, do you know that your license is suspended? What? No, my license is suspended. It can't be suspended. Well, of course, yes, I knew that it probably could be suspended, but I didn't in fact know that it was. Especially seeing as how 2 weeks ago, I got pulled over and the dude said nothing about my license being suspended. So I thought that I was fine, right? No, so not at all. Homie comes back and he tells me, so I'm still gonna write you a warning for the license plate, but I also have to write you a must appear in court. And I'll show you this. I don't want you guys knowing where I live and everything like that. Whoops. Duh. I don't want you guys knowing where I live and everything. So this is my ticket, okay? And the good thing is, and you can see that, there's no fine, but I have to actually appear in court. Well, what the hell does that mean, sir? So I'm standing there, I'm sitting there in my car, and of course, you know, he's like, no sudden movements, and you know, keep the car off, and you can't get out of the vehicle. So I said, well, sir, what exactly does that mean? So he says to me, he says, well, what you're going to have to do is appear in court for the fact that your license was suspended. And I said, well, sir, I didn't know my license was suspended. I did. Well, I thought that it could possibly be suspended. So he tells me that I have to come to court and I have to appear. I'm like, okay, fine. So I said, well, all right, well, how about this? You know, would it be a good idea to do whatever is necessary to figure out, one, if my license is actually suspended. Well, he told me it was suspended, so I know that it is suspended. Well, do what I need to do to make sure it's not suspended anymore. And he said that would be a good idea. And I'm like, okay, fine, you know, I'm ready to go ahead on home with my son. He's going to eat his candy he got from Chuck E. Cheese, all of that stuff, right? Then the officer says, so, do you have someone you can contact to drive the car away? And I said, well, you know, my wife is home with my other 2 children. That's pretty much it. You know, that's all the family I have in Maryland. I really don't have another way to get my vehicle home. He said, well, I can't let you drive your vehicle away. And I said, well, sir, I'm here with my son. He's in the back seat. I'm here with my son. And I was unaware that my license was suspended. Can I just go ahead home, take care of what I need to take care of, and, you know, move forward from there? And he said, well, I can't let you leave the scene with your vehicle, or I can't let you drive your vehicle away. And I'm like, fuck my life. All right, so what I did was I called my wife and I said, hey, I might need you to come pick me up from the city I was in, which was called Glen Burnie. Not that important. So I said, I might need you to come pick me up. And she said, why? And of course I tell her exactly what happened. And she's like, okay, fine. I said, well, look, before I call you and let you know if I need you to come and get me, I'm going to talk to the cop again and see whether or not I can drive the vehicle away. So dude goes back to his car, and that's when he actually wrote me the ticket. So I'm waiting for him to write me the ticket. Now mind you, probably about 15-20 minutes has transpired, because I'm trying to explain to him exactly the plate is where it is and all this other stuff and song and dance. Like I said, he was going to let me off with a warning. But Mr. Super Cop, Super Trooper himself, decided to run my license. And when he ran my license, it came back suspended. So dude comes back to my car. This is probably the third time he's been in my car now. And he says, well, here's your warning and here's your ticket. And I'm like, well, okay, so now what happens now, sir? And he said, well, you're going to need to contact someone to take your vehicle from this parking lot. And I said, well, is there any way that I can just, go straight home and take my son home and take care of this whole situation? He said, well, the reason I pulled you over is because your license plate is where it is. He said, now, I'm not going to stick around and babysit you and make sure that you don't go anywhere in your vehicle, but if you get caught again, chances are there might be a stiffer fine. And I'm like, okay, sir, all right, fine. So I said, well, when you finish doing what you're doing, I'm going to sit here for a couple minutes. I said, I can move my vehicle, right? And he's like, yeah, you're in this parking lot, just don't go on the street. I'm like, okay, fine. So I moved my vehicle off into like a little corner in this little parking lot where I was, and I made another phone call. And I said, hey, call my wife again. I'm like, hey, if I need you, I'll call you back. So basically what I decided to do was beat feet home the fastest way I possibly could on surface roads where I knew the probability of me running into another police officer would be slim. And I was able to get home. So long story short, don't you hate it when you find out your license is suspended because some overzealous cop decides to pull you over because your license plate isn't in the proper Maryland position? Yeah, me too. Well, look, if you've gotten this far in the video, do me a favor. Leave in the comments below, what is your, do you have any, or have you gotten any tickets, right? And then what is the highest fine you've ever paid for a traffic violation? Me personally, I got caught going 92 in a 55. Now mind you, this was a couple years ago, but the fine ended up being close to 400 bucks. Yeah. That does not include the time that I got pulled over on my motorcycle when I was traveling in excess of 110 miles an hour. I talked my way out of that ticket, thank goodness, because that probably would have gotten my license revoked. Nonetheless, thanks for watching as always, and thanks for getting to this far in the video. I do appreciate you watching. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button up there. And wait, my right, your left. Yeah, the subscribe button up there. And yeah, I hate that too.